That using a plugin like that is basically saying that you don't trust your ears enough to control the level of the vocal when you could really do it a whole lot better than that plugin can do, right? It's kind of guessing on controlling the dynamics when you need to be in control as the engineer. All right. Hey man, don't you ruin another mix because them vocals ain't sitting perfectly in the pocket. Let me show you something. Hey man, every great song starts with a great vocal. AutoTune Unlimited delivers the complete set of tools you need to make every vocal performance a perfect performance. And me and Antares have teamed up to give away about $4,000 worth of free AutoTune Unlimited. You want to enter to win? All you got to do is click the link in the description to enter. What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Wavy Wayne from WavyWayne.com. And if you don't know yet, then you've probably been under a rock, under a bridge, or under a boat, because this channel is all about helping you to record and mix better and faster, all right? This video today ain't gonna be no different, man. I have a gem to share with y'all. All right, this is just something that I feel like every engineer, every mixer, every artist, we need to be focusing on and spending a little bit more time on making sure that our vocals are sitting perfectly in the mix, right? Finding that perfect balance of how loud the vocal should be versus the music. For one, is definitely subjective. So depending on the type of song that you're working on and the type of feeling that you're going for, some songs may cause for the vocals to be a little bit more up front. Some songs may cause for that vocal to be a little bit more recessed and tucked off in the back. Listen to the music. Definitely let the song tell you what it wants, tell you what it needs, and let that drive your decisions. But I have a few techniques that I'm going to share with you to make sure that you are able to capture the sound that you actually are going for and be able to get those vocals to sit perfectly in the mix. Let's check out this mix that I got. So let's for sure give a huge shout out to my beautiful wife, Lydia Caesar. This song, Electric Sex, is actually a single off of her new EP that's going to be coming out very soon. It might be out. No. It's coming out real soon. So make sure I click the link down in the description to pre-save that project, man. But one of the first things that I can do to make sure that my overall signal is going to be melted into that beat, right? So for one, when I'm mixing my music, I want to create space for that vocal and remember that the vocal is coming. But as far as vocal treatments, one of the first things is just simply leveling out the vocal. Now, I do this by doing a couple of methods. One is that if I have multiple parts of the vocal, for example, the verse, the chorus, the bridge, what I like to do is separate those onto different tracks because a lot of times they will need different treatment, right? Maybe the chorus needs more reverb than the verse does, or maybe it's louder and needs more compression than the verse does, whatever. Any parts of your session that need different treatment, it's okay to move them to a different track, even if it's part of the same section. So even if the verse was a little dynamic and it started off quiet and got louder on the second half, I would still separate that verse, maybe just duplicate this track like we see here. Select whatever stuff is different and then move it down to a separate track so that it can be processed on its own. Now, yes, you can do automation and stuff like that, but it's just going to make your session a little bit more, it's going to just take a little bit longer and be a little more tedious versus allowing me to just separate stuff that's different and process it different versus just changing all of my automation every time. So that's one method. Another method that I really love to use is clip gain. You'll see right here on this one particular section of this clip here that I had to clip gain it up because I guess it was too low coming in. This is something that I typically would do before I start any mixing, any kind of compression, or even doing automation. Clip gain is a pre-fader level adjustment. It's also pre-inserts. So any inserts processors that I have over my track, by me adjusting the clip gain, I'm changing the level that's going into my processor. So it's kind of like I'm changing the level at which that signal was recorded at. one really dope clip gain feature that I love to use, this little shortcut, right? If you make a selection, so let's just say, for example, I had this one word. Let me do a save as real quick. So I don't mess nothing up. Hey man, if you love my YouTube channel, then you'll really love the Wavy Seals Elite. The Wavy Seals Elite is a membership group that offers you way more than you can get on YouTube. Not only do you get one-on-one communication with me at least once or twice a week through our live lessons, Q&As, but we also have multi-track practice sessions, 2-track practice sessions. I'll be bringing along other experts because I don't know everything. So every month we have monthly master classes where you get to learn from an expert in the field. We give each other feedback on mixes and help each other problem solve issues in the studio. As a member of the Wavy Seals Elite, you'll also get access to an amazing community of audio engineers and producers who are all learning and building with each other. There's 2 membership opportunities for the Wavy Seals Elite. You can choose monthly or annual membership. If you're ready to take your skills to the next level and really grow your career in audio production, the Wavy Seals Elite is what you're looking for. So if I had like this breath or whatever it is, if you hold the shift and control key and use your mouse scroll wheel, right? If your mouse has a scroll wheel, which you should, because you should have one of these right here, this Logic MX Pro. But then you can use your scroll wheel to just adjust certain sections really easily of the audio without having to separate it or do anything like that. So I really love using the clip gain feature for stuff like that. Whenever I have parts of a track that are just a little bit, maybe it's a little too dynamic. Like I'm looking here, maybe this little section is just a little too dynamic. It's going to cause too loud. It's going to cause the compressor to have to kick in and work a little harder than I want. I'll just make a selection over that one word there, shift control, and then I can easily clip gain that down, okay? Now that right there is going to help make level setting a lot easier, because the problem with stuff being overly dynamic is that it'll work good in one section and then it might be too loud in another section, then it's too quiet in another section, then it's good again, right? So by having a more even signal before we even start our processing, we reduce a lot of that back and forth stuff, okay? So now I guess let me give y'all a preview of the song, man. I'm gonna give y'all a little bit of gripping my thighs and my body quivers. We charged up when we making love. Electric sex, yeah. Oh, the way you play my. Oh man, okay. I hope Lydia don't kill me for putting that out there. But let's go over and look at some of the other processing that I'm doing. So of course, compression is going to come into factor here as well. So I'm just running down my vocal process. Y'all know I love to use my filters. This plugin right here, oh my God, this is like a godsend. This plugin, it's the analog channel MIG DSP, analog channel 2. This control, though, the bias control, is really where the magic is at. If you turn it to the right, it compresses the signal. But if you turn it to the left, it actually works as an expander, making your signals more dynamic. So depending on what you are going for, what needs to happen, if the signal is over compressed, then this would be a good little control here to turn to the left to get more of those dynamics. But if it's too dynamic, then we can turn it to the right to control it. So this is one way, compression, right? But it's also doing a little bit of kind of tape emulation and overdrive. So that's one way that I am, again, controlling the dynamics of that signal. I'm also a big fan of multi-band compression, right? Because it's just like we kind of thinking about looking at the individual pieces of a clip, how one section could be too loud. Well, frequencies can be the same way. So maybe the whole overall signal isn't too loud, but maybe sometimes, you know, it just gets a little harsh in the 2K, or is there a little bit of boominess down in the 400 range? Whenever that happens, on occasion, I don't want to just scoop those out altogether, but allowing me to use multi-band compression to control those frequency bands, it just gives my vocal or whatever it is that I'm mixing a lot more natural characteristics as we going on. So that's that, okay? And then I'm using another compressor. So I got like 3 compressors already happening, not to mention the compression that was on the signal when we came in, okay? But each one of these are doing a little bit, right? Just doing a little lifting. Each compressor is lifting a little bit, doing a little bit of the work. And so, yes, it's okay to use multiple compressors on your signal. It all depends on what you're going for and understanding, hey, each one of these has different characteristics. Some of them might have a little bit of distortion that we're adding in. Some of them might be multi-band compression where we're getting a little bit more detailed. All right. And so, but the smack compressor, I really love this one. All right. Let's see. For some reason, I didn't keep my de-esser. Oh, I'm using it down here though. And we're using the Soothe 2, the Saturn, and the de-esser. But none of those are really coming into play when it comes to getting that vocal to sit volume-wise perfectly in the mix. What else I'm doing though on these vocals is automation. So if you notice, I've been doing volume automation rides, and if you look at the trajectory of this volume automation, hopefully it's kind of like your stock portfolio where it's just going up, because we started this song, it starts off pretty calm and chill. You know all the right buttons to push, yeah. And as the song builds up, you know, that vocal, I want it to get louder and louder as more music is coming in. And then again, this next verse, I want us to start off again, intimate, and then build up. Right. And I'm doing some automation on the chorus as well, too. Just because I am doing a lot of that compression there, I want to be able to control and play with the music on when that vocal is getting louder and when it's pulling back and when it's a little bit more in your face and when it's a little more, what you call that, drawing you in, a little more personal, right? A little more intimate feeling. Automation is going to be so key. To do this, one way I like to do is just open up a fader by clicking on the output path control. There's a little fader there. You can open this up. And then when you choose your automation mode, I only recommend using touch or latch. None of the other ones for sure. But if you're on a Mac, you hold that control key down, and what that allows you to do is have fine fader movements, right? That way you can make these very small incremental adjustments as the mix is going on. Or of course, if you have a control surface like I have in front of my face here, then I could use this fader to kind of ride the beat as we go along. So to ride that vocal to go along with the beat. Now, yes, they have different plugins like the Waves Vocal Rider and stuff, but that using a plugin like that is basically saying that you don't trust your ears enough to control the level of the vocal when you could really do it a whole lot better than that plugin can do, right? It's kind of guessing on controlling the dynamics when you need to be in control as the engineer. All right. So let's digress. So automation is another super great way to really control it. And I mean, and really, man, not only can you control the vocal, but you can automate your music as well. So maybe if there's a more powerful section that's coming up during the chorus or some bridge or something like that, maybe automate some of and the vocalist is getting louder. Maybe let's automate some of the instruments to come up as well instead of bringing the vocalist down. That way we can keep that energy, keep building up the song and keep adding stuff up. And then when we need to, we can bring stuff back. So the automation is not just for the vocals. It could be for any instrument in your mix that you want to have kind of rise and fall with emotion at the same time. All right, family, those are a few key ways that I love to use to get my vocals, well, not my vocals, but any vocals that I'm working on to sit perfectly in the mix. What are some of yours, man? I definitely want to know, because I'm going to steal any kind of tips that y'all leave right down in the comments. Let me know and share them with the community. I'm Wavy Wayne from WavyWayne.com. Thank you for watching. I hope you learn. Be dope.